Hello, and welcome to Darkleaveswhisper. Tonight, we travel down a lonely highway where one man's midnight drive becomes a journey into something not quite alive and not quite gone. If you enjoy stories that crawl under your skin, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with someone brave enough to keep their eyes open past mile marker 187. Now, turn off your headlights and listen closely. It was a little after midnight when I hit the long stretch between towns. The kind of road where the world feels like it's holding its breath. The highway was empty, the lines faded, and the air thick with that lonely hum that come when your tires are the only sound for miles. I'd been driving for 5 hours straight. My thermos of gas station coffee long gone cold. The GPS showed nothing but black space ahead, just that thin blue line cutting through darkness. I wasn't in any hurry. I just wanted to get home. My mom had talked me into visiting her earlier that day. Said it had been too long since I'd dropped by. I left late, thinking I could beat the fog that usually rolled in around midnight, but the fog beat me. Thick, low, almost alive, swirling in the glow of my headlights like smoke. The radio gave out 20 minutes ago. No stations, just static. The road signs were few and far between. And when I finally saw a small green marker flash in my lights, I noticed the number. Mile marker 187. I didn't think much of it then. Just another number on another road. But not even a minute later, I saw her. At first, she was just a smudge in the fog, a pale outline on the shoulder of the road. I slowed down, thinking maybe it was a deer or a person needing help. As I got closer, I realized it was a person, a woman. She stood facing the road, head slightly tilted, her long black hair swaying in the night breeze. She wore what looked like a white dress, the kind you'd wear to a summer gathering, not something meant for cold highway air. I eased off the gas, rolled the window down halfway, and leaned out. "Hey, you okay?" I called. She didn't move, didn't even turn her head, just stood there, frozen, like she was waiting for something. The fog thickened, curling around her legs like it was part of her. I remember the strangest chill running through me. Not the kind that comes from cold, but from instinct. Something deep in me whispered, "Don't stop." Still, I slowed enough to see her face as my headlights swept across her. That's when my stomach turned. Her eyes were closed, but her lips, they were moving, just barely, like she was whispering something I couldn't hear. I didn't stay to find out what. My foot hit the gas, and the car jerked forward. For a second, I looked in the rearview mirror. She was still standing there, right at the edge of the fog, her face faint in the red wash of my taillights. Then she was gone. Not walked away. Not faded. Gone, like she'd never been there. I must have driven another 10 minutes before I started breathing normally again. I told myself I was tired, seeing things. Highway hypnosis. It happens. My mind replayed that image over and over. Her pale face, the way her lips moved, that white dress fluttering in the wind I couldn't feel. When I finally pulled into a roadside gas station, the kind that looks like it hasn't seen business in years, I went inside to grab another coffee. The old man behind the counter looked up from his newspaper and nodded. "Late night, huh?" he said. "Yeah," I replied, coming from Maple Junction. Long drive. He poured the coffee slow, then asked, "You didn't happen to see anyone out there, did ya?" I frowned. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, eyes flicking toward the fog outside. Anyone on the road? Around mile 180 or so. 187, I said, before thinking. There was a woman. White dress? She? The man's hand froze mid-pour. You didn't stop, did you? I shook my head. Good, he muttered. Most don't come back when they do. I blinked. Come back from what? He didn't answer, just slid the coffee across the counter, his face pale and distant. When I got back to my car, I swear to God, the passenger door was unlocked and the seatbelt was buckled. I sat there for a long time staring at that fastened seatbelt. It was looped neatly across the empty seat, buckled tight, the metal latch catching the faint yellow light from the gas station sign. I hadn't buckled it. I never buckled it. Something about seeing it that way, perfect, deliberate, made my chest tighten. I reached for it, unlatched it quickly, and muttered under my breath, probably just forgot. But even as I said it, I knew I was lying. I started the car, gripping the wheel tighter than I should have. The radio still wouldn't pick up anything but static, and I wasn't in the mood for silence anymore. The fog outside had thickened again, swallowing the highway like a living thing. The old man's words kept repeating in my head. Most don't come back when they do. Come back from what? I pulled onto the road, trying to convince myself I was just tired, that none of this was real, until I glanced at the passenger window. There was a faint smear on the glass, like a handprint, small, feminine, forefinger and the edge of a palm. I rubbed at it with my sleeve. It didn't fade. It was on the outside. I sped up. Miles slipped by in a blur, the fog rising in thick waves that made the headlights useless. I was just about to pull over and wait it out when I saw it again. That green reflective sign. Mile marker 187. I felt my stomach drop. I should have been 40 minutes away from it by now. Somehow I looped back. The car slowed almost on its own. My hands were slick with sweat. I leaned forward, scanning the side of the road, and then I saw her. Standing right where she'd been before. Same spot, same posture, same stillness. The only difference was her face. This time, her head was tilted toward me. Her eyes were open. I hit the gas so hard the tires screeched, fishtailing before gripping the asphalt. My heart pounded in my throat as I tore down the road, not daring to look back. The engine whined, the fog blurred, and still, in the mirror, I thought I saw the faintest white shimmer behind me. It wasn't until I reached a small diner, lights flickering through the mist, that I finally pulled in. I needed air, people, something real. Inside, there were maybe 3 customers, a trucker, a couple eating in silence, and a waitress in her 50s with tired eyes and a polite smile. I slid into a booth, ordered black coffee, and tried to shake the feeling that I hadn't been alone in the car. The waitress poured my cup, then froze mid-motion, her eyes landing on my sleeve. "Where'd you get that?" she asked softly. I looked down. A faint streak of something grayish-white clung to the fabric, smeared like dust or ash. "I don't know," I said. "Road dust, maybe?" She didn't answer right away. Then, in a voice just above a whisper, she said, "You've been driving near marker 187? I hesitated. "Yeah. Why?" The trucker 2 booths down turned his head. The couple stopped eating. The room suddenly felt smaller. The waitress nodded slowly, as if she already knew. "You saw her." I wanted to laugh it off. but I couldn't find the humor. Who? Her gaze drifted toward the fog outside the window. The hitchhiker. Been years since anyone mentioned her. Thought maybe she stopped showing up. What happened, I asked. The waitress lowered her voice. They say she died out there. Car wreck, late at night. No one found her body for days. Some say she's still looking for a ride home. I swallowed hard. That's just a story. Maybe, she said. But people who stop for her never make it to the next town. I didn't touch the coffee after that. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. When I finally stepped outside, the fog was waiting. It hung low, curling along the pavement. The wind was cold now, sharp. I opened the car door and froze. The passenger seatbelt was buckled again, and resting on the seat was something small, round, and wrapped in foil. My mom's pie, the one that had gone missing hours ago. The foil crinkled softly in my trembling hands. It was the same pie, same tin, same note my mom had taped on top in her tidy handwriting. Drive safe, love you. Except now the note was wet. The ink had bled into the paper, smudged like it had been soaked in fog. I looked around the parking lot, empty. No other cars, no sound except the soft rumble of my engine and the faint hiss of wind curling through the trees. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Someone must have broken into the car, planted it. Maybe a sick joke. Maybe I dropped it and forgot. But deep down, I knew better. I unbuckled the passenger seat belt again and tossed the pie onto the back seat. The car smelled faintly of something sweet, but beneath that was a damp, earthy scent, like rain on old wood. The fog followed me as I pulled back onto the highway. It moved strangely, almost like it was flowing with me instead of against me. I drove faster. My eyes flicked between the road and the mirror every few seconds. Nothing. Just fog. No woman, no white dress. By the time I saw another green sign, I almost laughed. Mile marker 187. It was impossible. I've been driving away from it for nearly an hour. I slowed down, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Maybe the road curved back. Maybe I'd missed a turn. I tried to reason with myself, tried to believe in logic. But then I heard it. A sound, faint, behind me. A soft click, like a seatbelt fastening. I froze. My hands stayed on the wheel, eyes locked on the road. My mind screamed, "Don't look," but my body betrayed me. I turned my head, slow as stone. The passenger seatbelt was buckled again, and this time, the seat wasn't empty. At first, I couldn't breathe. I thought my eyes were tricking me, but there, faint and pale, in the corner of my vision, was a shape, a woman's outline. Her dress shimmered faintly in the dim light from the dashboard. Her hair hung loose, dripping something dark onto the seat. She didn't move, didn't look at me, just sat there like she belonged. My voice cracked when I spoke. "What do you want?" No answer. I gripped the wheel harder, knuckles aching. Why me? Nothing. Only the soft sound of wet fabric shifting when the car hit a bump. The air inside the cabin grew cold, sharp, biting cold that made my breath visible. My fingertips went numb. I turned the radio knob again, desperate for any sound that wasn't silence. Static filled the car, deep, hissing static that cut through the stillness. I was about to turn it off when, beneath the static, a voice whispered. It was faint, almost too soft to catch, but I heard it. "Take me home." I slammed the brakes. The tires screeched against the pavement, the car jerking to a stop. My chest heaved as I turned, but the seat was empty again. The fog outside pressed against the windows, almost solid. For a moment, I thought I saw her reflection in the glass, her face behind mine, eyes open wide, lips moving soundlessly. Then, as quick as it came, it was gone. I sat there shaking for what felt like forever. Eventually, I put the car in park and stepped out onto the shoulder. The cold air hit me hard. The world outside was silent. No crickets, no wind, nothing. Just the sound of my own ragged breathing. I leaned against the hood, staring into the fog, and then I saw it, barely visible in the beam of my headlights. A sign, rusted and half buried in the grass. The paint had faded, but I could still read the words. In memory of Ellen Hartley, 1987 to 2009. Gone, but not forgotten. My stomach dropped. The waitress hadn't said her name, but somehow I knew. I glanced back at the car. Through the windshield, the passenger seat glowed faintly white, like fog trapped inside. And faintly, through the radio static, that same whisper came again. Clearer this time. Don't leave me here. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of my phone vibrating on the motel nightstand. For a second, I thought it was my alarm, but when I looked, it was an unknown number. I hesitated before answering. Hello? Nothing. Just a soft, static hum. Then, faintly, you left me. I froze. The voice was low, cracked, but unmistakably female. Before I could say anything, the line went dead. I tried calling back, number unavailable. My throat felt tight. Maybe someone from dispatch. Maybe a prank. I told myself that until I started getting chills again. That same bone-deep chill I felt when she vanished off the road. Later that morning, I stopped by a small diner down the street. The kind that looks like it's been there since the 60s. The waitress poured my coffee and asked if I was passing through. I said yeah, and mentioned, without really thinking, that I had seen someone walking by the highway last night. At the mention of it, her face drained of color. You mean around mile 187? She asked softly. I nodded. She set the coffee pot down slowly. You're not the first, sweetheart. Every few months, someone swears they see her. Always around the same spot. Who? I asked, though part of me already knew. The woman in white. Some say she was hit by a trucker 30 years ago. Tried to flag him down, maybe for help, maybe for revenge. No one knows for sure, but they say if you see her face, she marks you. My stomach sank. Marks me? The waitress looked me dead in the eyes. She doesn't like to be left behind. That night, I sat in my van in the motel parking lot, scrolling through highway ghost stories online. I found dozens of posts about phantom hitchhikers, but one stood out. A blog by someone named TD. It read, if you see her, don't stop. Don't look back. Don't answer the call. I scrolled further. There was a blurry image. A woman in a long, white dress standing on the shoulder of a dark highway. I felt my chest tighten, because behind her was a van. My van. The same rust pattern on the side panel. The same dent on the rear door. The timestamp? 2 days ago. The same night I drove past mile marker 187. I threw my phone on the passenger seat and stepped outside for air. The wind was sharp, carrying the faint smell of rain and exhaust. Somewhere in the distance, a semi's horn echoed. And then, my phone rang again, same number. I didn't want to answer, but my hand moved on its own. Hello? This time, her voice was clear. I was cold. I swallowed hard. Who are you? I was waiting for you. My hand trembled. Where? There was a pause, and then she whispered, almost sweetly, outside. My breath caught. I turned slowly toward the reflection in the van window, and there she was, standing just behind me. Pale, dripping wet, her hair plastered to her face, her mouth moving soundlessly until the reflection smiled. But I wasn't smiling. I don't remember how long I stood there, frozen between fight and flight, as the reflection smile widened. Her pale eyes seemed to move in slow motion, gliding from my reflection to the real me, until I felt her breath, cold and damp, on the back of my neck. I spun around. Nothing. Just the empty parking lot, the hum of a flickering streetlight. My van door hung open, rocking slightly in the night breeze, but the air, it was heavy. It felt like standing underwater, each breath thick, slow, and unnatural. I got in, locked the doors, and started the engine. The headlights cut through the dark, landing on the rain-slick asphalt. My hands shook as I pulled onto the road. I didn't care where I was going, just away from that motel. The GPS glitched, rerouting me back toward the highway. I didn't even notice until I passed a familiar green sign. Mile marker 186. I cursed under my breath. The storm that had been threatening all night finally broke. Rain hammered the windshield so hard it blurred everything beyond the glass. Then, out of the static of the radio, came a voice. You left me. The same one from the call. My heart pounded. The radio wasn't even on. I reached to shut it off anyway, but the dial twisted itself, flicking through dead stations, voices overlapping, rising in pitch until... Stop! I slammed the brakes, and there she was, standing in the middle of the road, barefoot, soaked, hair clinging to her face like seaweed. The headlights illuminated every drop of water dripping from her hands, her dress, her lifeless eyes. She looked sad, not angry, not vengeful, just broken. I stepped out into the rain, heart thundering in my chest. I didn't mean to leave you, I shouted over the storm. You came out of nowhere. I couldn't... She tilted her head, slow and deliberate. I waited, she whispered, her voice echoing across the highway like wind through hollow trees. You saw me. You stopped, but you didn't help. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? Her eyes lifted toward me. You were there. Before lightning flashed. For half a second, the world lit up, and behind her, I saw the wreck. A mangled car on its side, half buried in mud, its metal twisted like paper. Inside, a woman's body. The same face, the same white dress, and me, standing on the roadside, years younger, holding my phone, watching, not helping. The night it happened came flooding back. I'd seen the crash, but I'd been scared. It was late. The road deserted. I told myself someone else would stop. I kept driving. Now she was here, standing where I'd left her. I'm sorry, I whispered. She stepped closer. Rain pooled around her bare feet, steam rising from the pavement as her form flickered like a broken light. It's too late to be sorry, she murmured, but not too late to stay. I felt her cold hand brush my cheek, soft, almost gentle. For a moment the storm fell silent. The world around us stilled, and all I could hear was her breathing. Then she smiled. A light, bright and white, flashed through me, and everything went dark. The next morning, a highway patrol officer found my van parked on the shoulder near mile marker 187. Engine running, door open. Rainwater pooled on the driver's seat. No sign of me, but there was a wet footprint on the inside of the windshield. and written across the fog glass in shaky letters, "He stayed." If you ever find yourself driving alone late at night and you see a woman standing by mile marker 187, don't stop, because some rides never end. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to Darkleaves Whisper. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And keep your lights bright, your windows up, and your faith stronger than your fear.